Hey, everybody again. So here's another lecture, yay rah, on chapter 10. And this is participation in leadership in teams, except for this lecture is going to focus on specifically on participation in teams. I'm going to save the third one for leadership. And you need this one so that, I'm sorry, I'm uncomfortable in this chair. You need this one so that you can observe your group. So when you meet with your groups, you want to observe your group members' interactions as you work on this group project together, so that again you can answer the individual questions on group participation that's part of your final project. Okay, so here we go. So the last lecture we talked about a little bit about groupthink, and we talked about that 6-step problem solving procedure that you can use to kind of keep the group on track and solve problems. So now we're going to look specifically at participation in teams. So to kind of map this out a little bit, why? What are again some of the characteristics of effective teams? So team participants, how can you be, I guess that's a better way to phrase it. How can you be an effective participant on your final project, this final sales presentation group project, right? Because it's not just about you. In the other lecture, I talked about how you may have a group of 5 people and 2 want the A. They want to go full out. I could use an expression that's probably unprofessional, so I won't. They want to go full out to the wall, okay, and make the A. The other one wants a B, and the other 3 just want a C. Okay, well, it's not just about you and your C. Other people need a higher grade. They want to do the best you can. You want to have the most productive team possible, right, on the project. So aim for the A is my advice. Aim for making the project the best it can possibly be under the constraints given, right? So the question is, so just remember that. It's not just about you. You have a responsibility now to your team or your group. Think about if you're on the job and you do have a client coming in and everybody's promotion is resting on doing this great, wonderful, persuasive presentation to get this client on board with your company, and everyone's going to get a promotion. You've got to be on. It's not just about you anymore. You've got to be on board with this because things are riding on it for everyone. So think about that. You may be okay with the C, but other people aren't. So, and besides that, what happens if you aim for the C and you fall short and then you don't? The whole thing flops. So you have to be committed. So how do you participate in a group, on a team, at work? And then I'm going to apply this mainly though to your group project. How can you be an effective team member for this final group project, right? Well, here it is. You come to the meetings, committed and prepared. If at the last class session, I was walking around kind of hearing things, if whoever at the time was sort of the leader of the group was saying, all right, you need to bring in the organization part, you need to bring in some research about maybe this product or service, then that's what you do. You show up then tomorrow with that task or with whatever you were supposed to do completed, right? So you want to be committed to that team. You want to be prepared because it's not just about you. It's about the team. It's about the ensemble. I'm a theater person. I think I've told you that. My background's in theater, and we talk about this being ensemble. Okay, how well did that cast work together on stage? And it's part magic and it's part practicality. People came prepared, they knew their lines, they're in sync, they're willing to take risks with each other, they're willing to disagree with each other. There's a chemistry happening. They're willing to be vulnerable on stage with each other, and they've practiced. They're fully committed, and so this beautiful ensemble chemistry where one person moves and everyone reacts. It creates this beautiful whole, okay? Whole as in WHOLE, the whole play. It's also on a practical level, so that's sort of the magic, touchy-feely stuff. On a practical level, here it is. Sometimes you will get in a play, the star, right? And of course, women, it gets stereotyped as being female, the diva, but we also have divos. Trust me, these very egotistical male actors that walk on water, right? And the same thing for these, I am the star. Everyone should bow down to me. I can treat the props person like crap. The props person is the one that's responsible for your fan, your suitcase you're supposed to carry on, the big floppy hat that's a key moment in the show, all of that. So you have the crew that's making everything function backstage. And sometimes the stars think they can treat the crew like crap, because the crew is just there to meet their needs because they are the star. They are doing the acting. Well, guess what? If you're rude to your crew people and you treated your props person like shit, the next time you have 30 seconds to come off stage, grab the suitcase you need, that's the key prop in the next scene, it may not be there. And then what are you going to do? You're going to walk on stage with no suitcase, and you're going to have to improvise and do all kinds of things because you were an asshole to the props person. You can't do that. The crew people, the lighting people, everyone is working together to make this play fabulous. It's the play as a whole. It's not just about you. So I kind of use that. And if you've been crappy to the light person, guess what? Next time you go out for your big solo, the spotlight you're supposed to be in, oops, sorry, I forgot to bring up the spot. And of course, crew people should not do that either, because it's their responsibility to not be petty and take revenge. But my point is, if they did, and you're treating people like crap, guess what? You rely on them. Why are you treating the people like crap that are there to help make you look good and make the show go on? So it's the same principle here with the team, with your team presentation. You want to come in prepared, committed, so that everyone looks good. Are you with me? Now, that's not the same thing as group think, where people are just kind of going along and, well, let's just get through this show so everything's going to be okay. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. So commitment. You're willing to devote time, energy, and attend faithfully and meet disagreements head on. Healthy conflict is good. Okay. So you also want to be open-minded. You're open to your team members' ideas. This is not the same thing as group think. You're open-minded. You consider the different points of view, but you also evaluate them. You're not just going along with everyone. So that's something else to keep in mind. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do you also do? I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. So you're open-minded. You also respect different personality types. And that's something else you need to observe in your team meetings, both face-to-face and if you have virtual meetings, because that could be fun. Does anyone's communication style change when it switches from face-to-face to a Zoom meeting? That could be kind of interesting. So what you want to do is you want to be mindful of people's different personalities. You want to observe, is so-and-so a private communicator? Remember the communication styles? Is this one private? Is this person open? Is this one sociable? Is this one dominant? And so you want to kind of be respectful but observant about those different personality types and maybe how to adjust them, right? How to make them all work together. Groups with higher emotional intelligence don't just dismiss, avoid, ignore emotional components of decisions. They are aware of them and the impact of people's emotions and what's going on in the group. That's higher emotional intelligence. You deliberately consider emotions. You deliberately bring emotions into discussions and understand their effect on the work. If someone is excited and they're there in the group and they've offered up this idea, and the dominant, and you have some, dominant prima donna or prima donna, communicator, and who says, oh, that's a stupid idea. What are you thinking? You need to be aware that might hurt the person's feelings and completely shut them down. And maybe they had, the next thing you decide, maybe they had the best idea of the whole group. But now they're going to keep it to themselves because the person was rude. And it's not always a dominant. I shouldn't pick on the dominants. You need the dominants, especially when you have a team full of sociables or privates that are just going to kind of sit there unless somebody takes control. So I don't mean to pick on the dominants. There's any type can be rude, but I'm just giving you that as an example. So think about the interplay of emotions and how people are feeling. So that's what you need. That's something else that's critical to effective teams. Now, let's talk participation. Now I'm back to what we call, and this directly relates to the questions on your individual work. So when it's asking you to talk about what are the group roles that you observed, what are the task functions, maintenance functions, dysfunctional behaviors that you have observed in your group? This is what we mean. So, and let's break those down. So there's task functions. Your group, for this final project, you have certain tasks to complete. You've got to decide your company, and these tasks are decisions too, involve some decisions. You've got to decide what you're going to call your organization, what organizational model you're going to follow, what are the communication directions going to look like, what is the culture of your organization, the same thing for your product and service. You have to complete these tasks. Then you have to discuss is each member, how are you going to put that portfolio together? How are you going to put together that paper? Who's going to prepare what section? Right? Then you have to decide, or what other tasks have to get done. We've got to get the oral presentation practiced. We've got to get that put together. We need presentation aids. How are we going to get those put together? So those are tasks. What are the tasks that have to be completed, right? And tasks can also be, in terms of the group participants, is someone the recorder? Are they taking notes for the group? We call it, when we meet as our discipline, we actually take minutes. You have to take the minutes. What decisions were made? Who said what? Was there a vote? So sometimes you take the minutes. Now, you don't have to supply me with the minutes, but someone should be keeping track in your group of what decisions are being made and who's supposed to do what task. Right? So those are task functions. They enable groups to complete a task or solve a problem. And so someone may initiate the discussion. Someone may seek and give information. Someone may elaborate. If everyone's sitting around going, oh, I can't believe we have to do this stupid project for McNeil. It's our final exam. We're exhausted. Then someone's there to say, all right, I know, guys, it's finals. What can we say? Let's get this done. We're going to have some fun. Come on. Maybe you're energizing the group, okay? So those are task functions in group. Who's recording? And if you've been members of organizations, maybe you have a historian, right, who documents the history. Someone takes the minutes. Someone's the treasurer and collects the dues. Do you see? Those are tasks. So I'm giving you all those fun examples. Then there's maintenance functions. So part of your thing, when you answer those individual group questions, you're going to talk about that. Well, so-and-so kept notes. Well, so-and-so made sure all the members were there. Well, so-and-so said they would prepare this presentation aid. Well, so-and-so said they would do this. Well, so-and-so was kind of our leader. So although the leadership's going to be a whole other question. But you see, so those are tasks. Now let's talk about maintenance functions, which are much more fun. And maintenance functions can actually really make or break a group, right? They can be the difference between a so-so decision coming out of that group or presentation and a really good one. So what are maintenance functions or maintenance roles? These are the interpersonal roles and relationships. These are the magical things that help maintain that ensemble on stage, right? Let's go back to my play analogy. You're putting together the play, you have different people with different tasks. You've got the props person, the lighting person, you have the set crew, you have the actors, you have the costumers, right? But what happens when so and so gets into a tiff because their costume's not fitting right? And the costumer's been up all night till 2 in the morning sewing this costume, and the actor is all upset and well, it doesn't fit. Blah, blah. So does another actor come in and say, hey guys, come on, we're going to get this done. The costume looks fine. Have a little appreciation. The costumer was up till 2 in the morning. What's the problem? Well, we'll just listen. You just need to take it in a little bit or switch your bow tie. Of course, you don't want to overstep the costumer, but that person may be the smoother, comes in as the harmonizer, so that the costume person and the actor don't get into fisticuffs. So those maintenance roles are very important. Someone comes in as a maintenance role and they're the harmonizer. So you do want conflict, right? You do want people to be able to say, no, I'm not sure that's going to work, you all. I love your idea, but oh my God, we only have 3 days to get this done. You still want conflict and discussion, but maybe someone says, that's a very good point. Your idea is fantastic, but we do have to consider the time that we have. You see? So who's kind of the harmonizer? Also, if you're scared or not scared, but if you're concerned that a person may take your disagreement the wrong way and you're afraid of offending someone, just use this phrase. That idea, that's a cool idea, but just to play devil's advocate, what if this? Or just for argument's sake, what if this? And then you bring in the contrary point of view. We call it being the devil's advocate. You're advocating for the devil, which is a metaphor for you're advocating for the unpopular point of view. So you can do a disclaimer phrase, just for argument's sake. And I understand that, but what if we did it this way? Or, you bring in the counter view. And so that way, that the conflict isn't personal. You're focusing on the task at hand. Okay. So that's another thing to consider. Other maintenance functions, encourage. Come on, guys, don't give up. We can do this. I know we're tired, but let's go. We can do this. So who's the encourager? Is there someone that every now and then cracks a joke to relieve the tension? And then one of the most important functions, maintenance function, who is the gatekeeper? Do you have a gatekeeper? The gatekeeper oftentimes makes sure that everyone participates. And so they keep the gate. Imagine opening and closing the gate on the flow of information. So maybe you have maybe let's not pick on dominant. Maybe you have an open communicator and oh my God, they keep going on and on and on and they've got all these great ideas and they're giving all this information and they're asking everybody questions and what they think. And what should have taken 5 minutes is now taking 15 minutes. Okay. So the gatekeeper would say, you know what, Lisa? You have just been full of fabulous ideas. We really appreciate this. But you know what? I haven't heard from Adrian over here. Adrian, what do you think about this all? And then, oh yeah, Adrian, that's good. But Aquino, what about you? What do you think? Yeah. And the gatekeeper might make sure that everybody participates. And when someone's going on too long, they shut the gate down. They do it, they may do it polite. They don't have to be rude about it, but they control that flow of information. And if someone's just sitting back or they're doing their homework, Roy, what do you think? we haven't heard from you. Let's hear from you. What ideas do you have? So the gatekeeper is very important. So that's what we're talking about. When I'm asking you to identify task and or maintenance roles in your group, you want to start thinking about that. You also want to go all the way back to those communication styles and see what communication styles members are exhibiting. Then there's another type of behavior that happens in groups, and it's called dysfunctional behaviors, which sounds bad, but I don't know. You might have someone that comes in and maybe they start talking a little bit about the weekend, and they ask everybody else how their weekend went, and that seems like it's off track from what the group is supposed to be doing. But as long as it doesn't go on too long, that kind of breaks the ice. Like, oh, well, that's cool. I'm glad you did that this way. Oh, I'm sorry that your weekend was so crappy. But well, that's cool. Well, let's see what we got to do here. We're almost done with the semester. We just have to do this final group project. Sometimes a dysfunctional behavior can actually be good. It could stimulate healthy conflict. It could break a group think position. Maybe someone comes in and just says, guys, they're going to shut it down, right? We don't have enough time to do that. That's great, but we don't have enough time. So maybe someone else come in, and the dysfunctional behaviors, they shut it down. Okay, so usually these behaviors are not what you want because they're inhibiting the group needs and they're putting the individual's needs ahead. But at times, it might be just the thing to kind of rattle up the group as long as you get it back on track. Here are dysfunctional behaviors that are not good. The dominant communicator that shuts everyone else down. It's their way or the highway. They're sort of the bully. They're sort of the communication bully. Okay, so those are they block other ideas. No, we can't do that. No, we need to do it this way because this is how we're going to get it done. No, that won't work. We need it. So you don't want a blocker. You don't want someone that's constantly blocking ideas, which is different from groupthink. Okay, groupthink, you would be encouraging the different. Groupthink blocking is an aspect of groupthink because you're not letting any other ideas come forward and you're not evaluating them, you're not weighing them, you're not exploring other alternatives, just like the problem-solving sequence says. So blocking can be bad or is bad. Then if someone's very aggressive, if someone uses the group to storytell, oh, I've got to tell you what a fantastic weekend I had. And then we hear the whole story. Oh, that reminds me of this old girlfriend I had. And the storytelling goes on, and now the group's totally off track. So storytelling, recognition seeking. Oh, you should do my idea because in the last class I was in, let me tell you, everyone didn't know what I was doing, but I came up with this idea and the teacher gave me an A+, and then I got to go on an interview and they put me on TV, So sometimes you will have people that look how great I am. They use the group because that's recognition seeking. They're seeking recognition from the group. They want people to say, oh, you're so wonderful. That's great. And listen, you think I'm making this stuff up? I've been through this. I've had colleagues that are like that. So this does happen. Someone who dominates, doesn't let anyone else get a word in edgewise, or confessing. Oh, you all, I feel so bad. I can't believe I did this. And I said this to my boyfriend right before I came in. Oh my God. Okay, so all of these are things that get the group off track. Special interest pleading. That would be if they have a particular agenda and they try to push that on the group. I don't really think that's going to happen. Distracting, and then we're withdrawing and we're not participating at all. That's all dysfunctional. Like you have the person and they haven't done jack shit. They've just sat back and let everybody else do everything and say everything, and they're working on their homework for their other class. Dysfunctional. You get to talk about that. In the individual group work, You are going to refer to people by name, and it's not to tattletale and all that. You are applying the course material. You are critically thinking. You're assessing your group's performance by looking at these different things. So, and I'll finish off so much for, I thought I was going to make these 10 minutes. What a joke. I'll end with one other thing. What do you do if you're in a group where you do have these dysfunctional behaviors? You do have a person in the group who's blocking, dominating, oh, look at me, look at me. So here's what you do. This is kind of fun. So you can the leader can either plan their opening remarks very carefully and basically say, guys, we've got to get this, and this done today. That's it. No chit chat. Here are the limitations. Here's how we're going to run this today. Okay. Or you could put the dysfunctional person right next to the leader. So they're like the leader sort of overshadowing them. Avoid, if they're the dominant person, don't look at them. Because if you give them eye contact and acknowledge them, that's going to encourage them to keep talking. So look down. Eye contact controls conversation, right? Shift your eyes away. Okay, that's another one. Assign specific tasks. This is one of my favorite. You've got the person that dominates and all that, and is always using the group as a showcase, and they can't stop talking. Make them the note taker that day. Hey, can you be the recorder? Can you do the minutes this meeting? Because then they're too busy doing the minutes to keep dominating the group. Do you see? So that's kind of fun. That's a little trick. And then, of course, getting your gatekeeper going. Establishing an order where every single person gets to participate, and establish that that's what you're going to do. Each question, everyone's going to have their say. These are just some tricks if your group is dysfunctional, if you have some of this going on. And break in. So if someone should be breaking in on me right now going, McNeil, this lecture was supposed to be 10 minutes. I don't have time for this during finals. But there you go. And seat an extremely talkative member between two extremely quiet ones. So because it's going to be quiet and they're not going to, and then maybe it might even encourage those quiet ones to talk. Encourage the withdrawers, because what do you do with private communicators? You only give them positive feedback, because remember, they're sensitive to criticism. So that's what they don't want. So you don't want to shut them down. Positive feedback, and then ask them questions. So-and-so, what do you think? I see you've been thinking about this for a while. What's your opinion? So again, and give praise and encouragement if needed and possible. Okay. Encourage, praise. That's a really good idea. Let's move on to so-and-so. So this is what we're looking at in terms of group behaviors. And I'm sure I had a bunch of stories, but I can't think of them right now. Everyone working together. So that's what we're talking about for the task, maintenance, and dysfunctional behavior question. Wow.